All right, we're going to continue with transformations here. So we're going to look at rotations. Basically, when you turn something, that's what we're looking at today. So our objective is we are going to figure out what the image object is, be it a shape, be it a line, be it an object, whatever it is. And we're going to find that out after rotating our pre-image about a given angle. And it's going to be specific to that center of rotation. So again, just a reminder, the image is what happens after you do a transformation. The pre-image is the original figure. So the original shape, lines, object, whatever it is. So that's what you have there. When you do a rotation, it's kind of a big definition here, but when you do a transformation of rotation, it keeps the object the same, but it takes a specific point. We call that the center of rotation, and it takes the pre-image and it's going to move that the same distance from the center of that rotation. So kind of think of like if you ever played tetherball on a playground back in the day, you're going to have your little point, that's the pole, center of rotation, and it's going to have a little string on it. It's going to have to go in that same distance around there. Now, if you keep spinning around on a tetherball, then it's obviously going to change, but you kind of hopefully will get the illustration with that. So what is this going to look like? So one of the ways you can do it is just by an angle and by that point, which is that center of rotation. So on this, I've got P, that's my center of rotation, and then I've got this shape, ABCD, and I'm just going to move it 45 degrees. So on this right here, P is that center of rotation, so you can kind of think right here that that's going to be my line or my tether connecting A. And all I'm going to do is just move it so that my angle kind of looks like 45 degrees right there. And I want to make sure that it's kind of the same distance. So I'm going to kind of put my new point right here, and I'm just going to call that A prime. And that's all I've got to do. I just have to do that on all of them. So B, so if I draw a dotted line up here, again, think of that like your tether. And so now I'm going to kind of move it about 45 degrees. So it's going to go off in this direction over here. And I need it to be about the same distance. So I'm going to put B prime right here. And so I'm going to keep doing that. So C, if I go ahead and I stretch this is going to be a long one here. But again, it's got to be about a 45 degree angle. So it's going to kind of be up somewhere over here. And so it's got to be the same distance. So I'm going to kind of put C prime right up here. And then same thing with D. So I'm going to draw my dotted line over here and then 45 degree angle. So it's going to kind of be somewhere over here, and it's got to be about the same distance. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to say D prime is right here. And so if I go ahead and I draw this, again, it's not perfect because I'm doing this freehand, but you can kind of see that's taking that square and it's just rotating it 45 degrees to get it to that new spot. So pre-image and oops. So this is my pre-image, and this is going to be my image after rotation. So that's one way you can do it. Another way that you can do this is if it's in the coordinate grid, it might look kind of something like this. And so you can still do that same thing where like I could take this and I could say that my origin of that coordinate grid is going to be my center of rotation. So I could like kind of dash that here. And if I want to rotate it 90 degrees, it's just going to kind of rotate right down to here. Same thing. This is my that's my point F. And so if I kind of tether it to that, it's going to kind of move it right over to here, and that would become F prime. And then H is going to be right here. And so again, I'm tethering it to here. And so I just want to rotate it 90 degrees. So 90 degrees is going to kind of end up being somewhere over here where it would give you like H prime. That's one way you could do it. And so I could go ahead and I could draw my triangle in. And again, it's not perfect, but it kind of gives you a picture of what's going to happen if you rotate it 90 degrees. The other way you could do it is if you're in a coordinate grid, then what you'll see is that there's actually some formulas, and all you do is just take the ordered pair. So like we're doing a 90 degree rotation. So we're going to use these ones right here. And it's basically take your ordered pair. So G is -2, 0. And all we're going to do is make the y negative. So the y is going to be 0, and so it stays 0. And then my x is just going to flip over to here. So it's just going to turn like this. That's my new order pair. So 0, -2, that's where G prime is. And so same thing. F is -1, 5. So -1, 5. And so all we're going to do is make the y negative. So we do -5. And then we move the x over to here. So it's just going to be -5, -1. So we're going to kind of put it down here. So that's where F prime is. It's pretty much where I had it before. And then H is, 1, 2. And so again, we're going to make the y negative and keep the x the same. We just kind of flip it around like that. So we get -2, 1. And so H prime is here. And that's what we'd get for our image.